The Union were apt to find Fort Donelson a tougher nut than the one they had cracked the week before. Like Henry, it commanded a bend in the river, but there the resemblance ceased. Far from being in danger of inundation, Donelson's highest guns, a rifled 128-pound and two 32-pound carronades, were in place on the crown of a 100-foot bluff. Two-thirds of the way down, a battery mounting a 10-inch colonnade and 8 smooth-bore 32-pounders were dug into the bluff's steep northern face. All 12 of these pieces were protected by earthworks, the embrasures narrowed with sandbags. Landward, the position was less impregnable, but whatever natural obstacles stood in the path of the assault had been strengthened by Confederate engineers. To the north, flowing into the creek where the bluff came sheerly down, Hickman Creek, swollen with backwater, secured the right flank like a bridgeless moat protecting the castle rampart. The fort proper, a rustic sort of stockade, after enclosing several acres of rude log huts, was designed to house the garrison and protect the water batteries from incidental sorties. It could never withstand large-scale attacks such as the one about to be launched. However, the engineers had met this threat by fortifying the low ridge running generally southeast, parallel to the bend of the river a mile away. Rifle pits were dug along it, the yellow clay spoil thrown onto logs for breastworks, describing thus a 3-mile arc which enclosed the bluff to the north and the country seat hamlet of Dover on the south, the main supply base. At its weaker and more critical points, as for instance where Indian Creek and the road from Henry pierced its center, Chevalade de Fraise was improvised by felling trees so that they lay with their tops outward, the branches interlaced and sharpened to impale attacking troops. All in all, the line was strong and adequately manned. With the arrival of Floyd's brigade, there were 28 infantry regiments to defend it, a total of 17,500 men, including the artillery and cavalry, with 6 light brigades, in addition to the big guns bending riverward. Grant shared his men's high spirits. He now had under his command over twice as many men as General Scott had employed in the conquest of Mexico. 15,000 in the marching column, 2,500 left on call at Henry, available when needed, and another 10,000 aboard the transports, making the roundabout river trip to join the overland column on arrival. Undiscouraged at being already 4 days past his previous forecast as to the date the fort would fall, in the telegram to Halleck announcing the launching of the movement, "We start this morning in heavy force." He essayed another, but with something more of a caution as well as ambiguity. "I hope to send you dispatch from Fort Donelson tomorrow." Whether this meant from inside the fort or just in front of it, the words would make pleasant reading for the president on his birthday, in case Halleck passed them along, which he did not. But Grant, who perhaps did not even know it was Lincoln's birthday, had his mind on the problem at hand. He must get to the fort before he could take it or even figure out how to take it. He got there a little after noon, the skirmishers coming under sniper fire at the end of the brisk 10-mile hike, and threw 2 divisions forward, approaching the spoil-scared ridge along the defenders had drawn their curving line of rifle pits. Beyond it, gunfire boomed up off the river, a welcome sound since it indicated that the Navy had arrived and was applying pressure against the Confederate rear. The 2nd Division, led by Grant's old West Point commandant, F. C. Smith, turned off to the left and took position opposite the northern half of the rebel arc, while the 1st, under John A. McClernand, filed out to the right and prepared to invest the southern half, where the ridge curved down past Dover. What was left of the 12th was devoted to completing in investment. The gunboats' firing died away, having provoked no reply from the fort. Grant sent a message requesting the fleet to renew the attack next morning as a diversion in our favor, and his men settled down for the night. Dawn came filtering through the woods in front of the ridge, showing once more the yellow scars where the Confederates had emplaced their guns and dug their rifle pits. They were still there, pickets exchanging shots, an irregular sequence of popping sounds, each emphasizing the silence before and after, where tendrils of pale, low-lying smoke began to writhe in the underbrush. Near the center, Grant listened. Then, there was a sudden clatter off to the right. mounting a quick crescendo with a boom and a jar of guns mixed in. McClernand had slipped the leash. His attack, launched near the troublesome battery to his front, was impetuous and headlong. Massed and sent forward at a run, the brigade that made it was caught in a murderous crossfire of artillery and musketry and fell back also at a run, leaving its dead and wounded to mark the path of advance and retreat. Old soldiers would have let it go at that, but there were few old soldiers on this field. Twice more the Illinois boys moved forward, brave and green, and twice more were repulsed. The only result was to lengthen the casualty list, and perhaps instruct McClernand that a battery might appear to be exposed, yet be protected. The clatter died away almost as suddenly as it had risen. Once more only the popping of the skirmishers' rifles punctuated the stillness. Presently, in response to Grant's request of the night before, gunboats firing echoed off the river beyond the ridge. To the north, Smith tried his hand at advancing a brigade. At first he was successful, but not for long. The brigade took its objective, only to find itself pinned down by such vicious and heavy sniper fire that it had to be withdrawn. The sun declined, and the opposing lines stretched about the same as when it rose. All Grant had really learned from the day's fighting was that the rebels had their backs up and were strong. But he was not discouraged. It was not his way to look much at the gloomy side of things. "I feel every confidence of success," he told Halleck in his final message of the day, "and the best feeling prevails among the men."